So Manchester United have just snatched a draw from the jaws of victory, and Man United fans everywhere are wondering what the hell happened. It's an incredibly frustrating result considering Manchester United were the better team throughout the game. So what did happen? In this video, I'm going to go through some tactical points of the game showing the setups, some patterns of play and other highlightable points. 2, some key points on individual performances. And 3, is this the return of the 2023-2024 version of Diogo Dalot? So let's get into it. To demonstrate the parts of the game that I want to highlight, I'm going to be using my trusty tactics board. So here you can see how the two teams set up before any substitutions. More on substitutions later on. And you can see United look very familiar, albeit with a few different names. Heaven at centre back is the most notable player included. It almost feels like he was kind of thrown into this game, doesn't it? I can't actually remember the last time I saw Heaven make a substitute appearance, let alone a start. He was generally okay, but obviously received that yellow card for the stupid tackle on Bowen, which effectively ended his game. Mazraoui is obviously a more familiar face, but someone we haven't seen much of this season either. He was good, and it's the first tactical point that I want to highlight from this game. United used their wide centre backs, Mazraoui in particular, to get quite high aggressively when on attack. He pushed up very high when United had the ball in West Ham's half, creating good overloads and underlaps on the right hand side. Manchester United's right hand side and West Ham's left hand side was obviously an area that Amorim had highlighted before the game as a weakness for West Ham, and Man United quite clearly tried to exploit this area. And speaking of aggressiveness, Manchester United often high pressed West Ham with some very high aggression. The wing backs often triggered the press, and even when they weren't the specific press triggers, the United front line still chased the ball like footballers chasing a ball. Anyway, it was great to see. Everyone loves to see a high press, don't they? And it helped pin West Ham back, so they needed to go long quite often to Callum Wilson. My favourite thing about the game though was how often and how good the runs off the ball were. I particularly noticed it from Mbeumo and Ahmed, as West Ham would often leave space behind their defensive line for players to run into. Mbeumo and Ahmed did have some really good runs on a good couple of occasions. However, whether it was the coaches that told them not to, or whether the players themselves didn't have the confidence to play the passes, or whatever it was, the passes seldom ever reached Mbeumo or Ahmed, and seldom ever were actually played to them. It was very disappointing, but extremely promising to watch either way. Movement off the ball is something that Manchester United have lacked for quite a while, and it was great to see. Now, back onto the substitutions. I know a lot of people have been getting onto Amorim about the substitutions, especially in the last 10 minutes or so. Specifically when Cunha and Xerxes came off for Ugarte and Mount. Because to be honest, at the time I was also thinking, what's actually going on here? Like, that it's not a like for like change. But actually the shape didn't change at all. Mbeumo simply went to the centre forward position in place of Xerxes. Bruno moved up to AMC, and Ugarte just went alongside Casemiro as the double pivot, or the two central midfielders, which, in all honesty, in my opinion, is perfectly fine. I know loads of you who watch my videos are constantly commenting saying that Bruno is out of position, so there can't really be any complaints there moving him up to AMC. Mount is a great player to have in these circumstances due to his work rate and tenacity to see the game out. And then you got Ugarte and Casemiro, two more defensively minded central midfielders, to help tighten the game up. Now these moves, or these substitutions, are completely logical, and it's something that's been done since the dawn of modern football day tactics and substitutions. You're 1-0 up with a little over 10 minutes to go against West Ham. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to tighten things up. And let's be honest, the players at this level should be able to see a game out for 10 minutes. The equaliser wasn't even from open play, it was from a set piece from a corner. So if you look at the situation completely unbiased and neutral towards the situation itself and all the people involved, I really do think it's a stretch to blame Amorim just himself for the equaliser. But now let's get into some key individuals from the game. And a lot of you are probably going to dislike it, but at this point now I am going to dig out Mbeumo. Yes, as I said before, he did make some very good runs off the ball to try to open up West Ham, but on the ball, he was way off. There were many occasions when he received the ball and he completely failed to control it or keep hold of it. It was incredibly frustrating to watch. He's one of United's best playmakers, and he can't afford to have many more games like this in this season going forward. Or actually, more importantly, Manchester United can't afford for him to have these games going forward. Cunha as well was also largely unimpressive, despite West Ham not doing anything really specific to try to stop him. Ex-United player Aaron Wan-Bissaka did have a cracking game, to be fair. He's always been good defensively, even during his mostly unsuccessful and underappreciated time at Manchester United. On the other hand, we saw a way more upbeat and positive performance from Ahmed. It's something I've highlighted in previous videos that the threat out wide has really gone stale for Man United, especially since Ahmed in the last few games has been quite quiet. However, against West Ham, he absolutely terrorised El Hadji Diouf Mark II and highlighted the left back's defensive shortcomings. And on the subject of wide players, this leads me nicely onto section 3 of this video, and it's Diogo Dalot. I said in my last video, which barely anyone watched by the way, so you wouldn't know in a way, but I did say against Palace I was way more impressed with him than I am usually, and I questioned whether we could see the return of the Diogo Dalot that won the Players Player of the Season back in 2023-2024 I think it was. Against West Ham, I think he had another impressive game. There were barely, if any, mistakes, and he of course popped up to score, which really should have been the winning goal, and I've got to say the goal was really well taken too. The initial control from the deflective shot is probably way harder to do than it looks, and the finish was also nicely composed and really well placed. Well done Dalot, and you can see from the celebrations how much it meant to the whole team, because he's obviously a really good influence in the dressing room. You know, a good guy all around, a really good team player. So I'm happy to see him finally doing well. Hopefully he can continue this good form and really start to kick on now. Because like I said in my last video, I think he does have a load of attributes that could make him a really important and influential member of this team. Just like a few seasons back under Ten Hag. So yes, it was an incredibly frustrating result. And I know there's going to be loads of knee-jerk reactions calling for Amorim's head again. But for me, there was still a lot of positives to take from the game. A game that United by and large dominated. Unfortunately, they were undone. It was only a draw in the end, but the goal was from a corner, which probably makes it feel worse than what it actually is. Just in general, completely an unnecessary goal to concede. So I understand the frustration. Let me know in the comments if you have anything from the game that you would like to add, or anything that you agree with or disagree with from the video. And as ever, if you did enjoy this video, please consider giving it a like and also consider subscribing, as it would really help the channel. Cheers.